different things. Oh, I should mention ontogeny and phylogeny. Title of one of his books. All right, let me leave him and get back to so biological evolution. There's lots of variants on a theme by biological evolution, but nonetheless, it's accepted that there is change, and we can look at the historical trends associated with evolution. And of course, today we would even add to this the idea of extinction. I know yesterday they were talking about the coral reefs are being bleached by the heat in the oceans, and they were worried that they were going to have a major extinction event of coral reefs this week, actually. So all of that is a very important part of pragmatism. We also, as pragmatists, believe in the ideals of American democracy. We might not agree on what all those ideals are, but nonetheless, that's a very important part of our common philosophy. Kind of a sum of Peirce was a scientist, James was a psychologist, Mead was a sociologist, Dewey was an educator. Of course, there's lots of others. Peirce gave us the concept of pragmaticism. Dewey refers to his philosophy as instrumentalism, and that's who we'll talk about next class. So we talked about James, his life. I should mention Henry James Sr., not only rich, but he was also a follower of Swedenborg. Have I mentioned Swedenborg in class before? Emanuel Swedenborg? Yes, okay. Swedenborg thought he was a Jesus in the second coming. Notice Henry James was the great novelist. His education were in private schools in the U.S. And Europe, Lawrence Scientific School, Harvard Medical School. I mentioned the expedition where Teddy Roosevelt also ended up, they weren't together, but nonetheless, it seemed like the Amazon was a thing to go do. He almost, because of perhaps his bipolar situation, but also because of his illness from Brazil, he almost died, but he came back and became an instructor of physiology, and then eventually psychology. I mean, psychology in this sense is being invented, so it's a new field, and he was one of the leaders, and philosophy at the same time. Highly successful lectures all over, and died in Chocorua, New Hampshire, in 1910. I mentioned the book on psychology that is considered to be maybe one of the main texts in pragmatism, and that's The Principles of Psychology, 1890. You would only look at that, though, for historical purposes today. It's not certainly not good psychology, up-to-date psychology. But he removed psychology from its traditional place as a branch of philosophy and established it among the laboratory sciences based on experimental method, especially using electricity, as I mentioned. And he does say a remarkable parallel obtains between the facts of social evolution on the one hand and of zoological evolution as expounded by Mr. Darwin on the other. The social dialectic is within individuals as much as between individuals. So when you talk about folks like Kierkegaard, who's concerned about this dialectical process of decision, of choice within my mind that we see within existentialism, it's also a matter of this constant interplay of forces in society. So remember when I talked about Hegel, I talked about that dialectical process that we just thought about that one little bit in where self-consciousness arises as a result of the in itself arguing with the for itself back and forth. I try to depict that, remember, in silly ways, but nonetheless, that's a constant. You're constantly deciding things in your mind, and so are we when we're deciding, geez, don't let me forget. Thanks for just now reminding me. I don't remember who it was, but one of you reminded me to go to the Department of Philosophy and tell everybody that this Friday, if you're available, and I think there'll be food. I hope there'll be food. It doesn't say anything about food, but we almost always have food at these kinds of events. But Friday in the Consortium Library, room 307, we have a visitor coming, Dr. John Basil, I guess you say it, Northeastern University. I think he's a friend of Raymond's. But in any case, he's going to be talking about an ethics ecosystem for AI and big data. Why, what, how. So that could be quite interesting. So that's 5:30 on Friday. That's this Friday, right? So I'm planning on being there. In any case, spread the word if you get the chance. Okay, so there's at multiple levels simultaneously, and of course that event is an opportunity for you to have that kind of multiple levels in one room. Consciousness is nothing other than the subjective experience. Feeling may be likened to a cross-section of the chain of nervous discharge. Remember, he's thinking it's electricity. Ascertaining the links already laid down and groping among the fresh ends presented to it for the one which seems to fit the case. His Varieties of Religious Experience, still famous, even though it's over 100 years old, you could still buy it new in a bookstore. That's kind of incredible. But religious experience testifies that we can experience union with something larger than ourselves, and in that union find our greatest peace. Dewey argues that all that the facts require is that the power should be both other and larger than our conscious selves. No, that's James, actually, still. Dewey, that's following that. So we'll talk about Dewey next class. I should mention some other folks. Notice that the Sources of Religious Experience is on the web for free, or the Sources of Religious Insight, rather, is on the web for free. By the way, that's absolutely gorgeous English prose. I think you would really enjoy just the way he writes. Josiah Royce. Josiah Royce. Let's see if I can find. And just think, this is 1899, maybe. My first task must be to forestall possible disappointments regarding the scope of our inquiry. In 7 lectures, people are going to come to the auditorium 7 times, right? Upon a vast topic, very little can at best be accomplished. I want to tell you at the outset what are some of the limitations to which I propose to subject my undertakings. I come before you as a philosophical inquirer, addressing a general audience of thoughtful people. This definition of my office implies from the outset very notable limitations, etc. He's just good. I highly recommend. Look at it for a little bit, at least. Metaphysical Club is a great book. Varieties of Religious Experience is famous. Okay. Did we Miss anything so far? We're coming up towards the end of the semester, everyone notices, I hope. So we just have the lecture on Dewey on Monday, and then we have Wittgenstein and language games, and we'll talk about Russell as well there. And then the last lecture, Quine and Neopragmatism. I have to find out when our actual final is, and I'll try to post it so that we all know what we're doing. It should be posted somewhere, and it's basically you just look up our day and time of class, Monday, Wednesday, 11:30 to 12:45, and it'll tell you, you meet on Wednesday at 10 o'clock, which is probably what it will be, I'm guessing. It normally is the Wednesday we get to meet. How's everybody doing as far as term paper and tests, test 3?
I haven't started on it yet.
You're welcome. Yep. Lots of interesting people out there. Some not really good choices, as I've discovered, but that's all right. We can talk about those. Any questions for me otherwise? You guys having fun?
When is the last day of the semester again?
I just closed it.
Oh, so it's kind of 3 weeks out?
Yeah, it's like May 5th or something of that sort. Should be a Saturday. So it should be whatever Saturday, the first Saturday of May, I think. So, because finals week is the last week of April, first week of May. And we'll just have one meeting that week. We won't have two. So we won't meet Monday and Wednesday. We'll just meet for a double session on one of those. And what I used to do years ago was bring in a movie. I could have like a table full of movies, and whoever came, I'd invite them to vote on which movie they would like to see, and then we would watch the movie. I haven't really had that many people come, but the main thing for me is I'm required to be here for that double session,
Sure.
whether or not anyone else comes or not. So I'll be here, and we'll think of something to do.
And our term paper is basically our final, correct?
Well, there is a test 3, but yes,
yeah,
the term
test 3,
and the term paper is.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm doing mine at Chalmers, and it's pretty interesting. I've just been like reading and highlighting. I'll probably start typing away here tonight. But
Yeah, Chalmers, I think, was a student of Daniel Dennett.
he's an interesting guy.
Oh yeah, he was here. We had him here when he was still in Australia, and he came and he looked like he just came in from a walkabout. You know.
Yeah, his hair's completely gone. He has a little short hair.
Yeah, I've seen him now.
I saw a picture of him. I was like, yeah, he's changed, man. I don't know where he was at Arizona.
NYU, I
Is it NYU now? He was at Arizona for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he's somewhere in New York.
I think you're right.
But I know he. I find his interest in the Oculus Rift to be fascinating, because the idea of having the kind of the ability to be somewhere even though you're still right here.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
so you put the goggles on, and you're able to like use Google Earth to visit Lyon. You know, wherever you want to go, you could. Well, as long as it's on the web, right?
Sure.
You know, I've tried going to different places, and
so that's cool. Yeah.
yeah, I have 3 of those now, because I keep playing golf. I have.
My son uses it quite a bit, but yeah, I'm just on a zombie argument right now.